terror. The report in the paper that I read was that he had actually soiled his trousers. He was so frightened.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, good.
Yeah.
You know, that was my immediate reaction, because this guy has terrified and terrorized so many people.
That's right, yeah.
And it's about time he got a taste of his own. And behind it all, they're cowards. That's the point I'm making.
Oh, well, I mean, they are all cowards because they're afraid to confront, you know, what they're being dealt with at the moment, especially, you know, when something is being handed to you, and if you're found to be in a certain position where you have to answer a case, you know, will do anything at all to fight against it. You know, instead of standing up and saying mea culpa, whatever, well, you won't be saying mea culpa until you defend yourself, of course.
Indeed,
but
yes.
instead of standing up and saying, okay, I have to deal with this, but instead using, you know, the money that's been accrued to fight and mount huge cases.
And huge money.
Yeah, absolutely
huge money.
Well, even, you know, there's a barrister in England, Claire Montgomery, and she's representing one of the gang members in a bid to evade extradition, and she's like the highest paid barrister in Britain. So that says it all. I certainly couldn't afford it.
Yes. Do you want to join in? Sorry, I left you waiting a lot. Who had a hand up there? Hello. Yes. Can I just say, by the way, that Liz and I are kind of constrained legally about. You'll notice that we're sort of edging around here because we don't want to give the potential to certain people to take advantage of something that might be said on the show. But by all means, join in. Yes.
Yeah, it's just a general question,
yes,
really.
Yes.
Liz, do you reckon that all these drug barons will eventually be brought to justice, or is it just a vicious circle that when one is brought to justice, another one takes over?
Hi. I think that of the current ones who are in the scene at the moment and who are very high up in terms of the focus of the Gardaí and the media for that, I think that most of them will be done. If you're talking about a particular gang, the gang we're talking about, I think that all of the people the Gardaí want to get for that will be apprehended, and most of them are anyway at this stage. But you're already, as I was saying earlier, you're getting people filling their shoes, and you've got to make sure that the measures are there to prevent that, because if a situation is allowed to develop as in the one which allowed the current problem to develop, well, then you're back to square one again. But I do think, you know, the change in the laws and the confiscation of assets, and, you know, there's a real willingness on the part of the guards to go after them at this stage of the game, and because of the public outcry as well.
Yes, the confiscation of assets is a very good point indeed, and a very good one. But the drugs problem will still go on as long as people want drugs, and people will always want drugs, and therefore the drug problem will continue.
Yeah, they still do.
And there will be people to serve it.
In fact, of that gang we've just talked about, there was a huge shipment of £2.5 million worth of cannabis, or of heroin, just before Christmas, a seizure. And that actually came from one of the gang members who's left this country, as have many other drug barons, as everybody knows, and he's setting up a route from Spain.
To here?
To do his business here while he's out of the country.
Yes, yes.
So there's certainly the demand there, yeah.
What line, Ronnie, tell us? Line 2, okay. Hello, line 2, good evening.
Good evening, gang.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask Liz, she's a beautiful young lady, but...
She is rather, isn't she? Yes.
I thought she was a film star.
What would you like to ask me? I'm waiting for the next sentence.
No, what I'd like to ask you, Liz, is that if your boyfriend or partner or husband or whatever, does he feel scared when he's out with you because of what you do and what happened to Veronica Godlover?
Thank you, by the way, but I don't know if he feels scared when he's out with me. He doesn't. I don't think he does, unless I'm going to give him a telling off about something, and then he gets very scared. No, but I mean, he's certainly extremely fearful for my safety if I'm gone off and he doesn't know where I am, which is why I always make sure I know where I am. But he knows that I take precautions, but at the same time, he would be quite anxious, yeah.
Yes, yes, I don't blame him. Thanks, caller.
Thank you.
Good evening to you. You started as a journalist in your teens.
That's right, yeah.
What, 13 or 14, you went to the Evening Herald, did you, to write a piece? Is that so?
Well, my sister will get sick if she listens to this.
Why?
My sister, who is 4 years older than me, Christine, and she wanted to be a journalist. And when I was a child, I was constantly sent to follow her around, which she wasn't happy about. I think I ruined many kissing opportunities that she had. But she wanted to do it, and she was talking about it. So I just got the idea into my head, and my first piece was actually a letter to the Evening Herald complaining about something which your producer, Ferdy McKenna, had written and I had taken issue with it, and it turns out I was wrong, and I addressed it to Miss Ferdia McCanna. So if he's listening, he won't be happy. That was my first piece, and I kept it. I still have it in a scrapbook.
Yes.
And I just started writing letters, and I got a great kick out of seeing my name in print. And then my father was very involved in the FAI, so I actually started writing sports pieces.
Yeah.
I know nothing about soccer, but that's what I started writing.
And they
About soccer.
published.
Yeah, they published them,
And
yeah.
you were just a persistent little nagger at the editor. You
Yeah.
kept on sending things
Now
in
I'm
on
only a
demand.
persistent little nagger.
Indeed, yeah, yeah. You believe that coming from a working class background yourself, that was a great incentive to you to succeed, was it?
Yeah, I do. I think I come from Cabra West, and
yeah.
my mother still lives there. I think that when you come from an area where not everybody has a silver spoon in their mouths, that it gives you great perspective in life, and I think it gives you a fantastic ability to deal with people from every side of the equation, and it makes you want more as well, because you're looking at some people around you who mightn't have a lot, and you say, well, I'm going to work really hard.
But many of the people you are now writing about, these scumbags, generally speaking, let's put a generic term on them, would have come from a similar kind of background. Now, have you figured out what the difference is that you ended up as you are and they ended up as they are?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with how strong you are and what you want. I mean, I don't think any of them are strong. You know, I think they're all weak. You know,
Weak?
Well, they might be physically strong, but they're weak in terms of not being able to transcend above crime and do something else. I mean, that's what it's about at the end of the day. You make a decision for yourself.
Yes.
But, no, I mean, good moral guidance, I suppose, you know.
Parents, you're saying?
My parents, yeah.
Parents.
Yeah.
Parents.
Being sent to bed at
That
8
is-
o'clock and
Indeed.
whatever else.
Yes, that'll soften your cough right enough. Who has a hand up there? Did I see something? Hello there. Yes, please join in.
Oh, yeah. Did you believe initially when you went to Amsterdam was Gilligan telling the truth?
Well, when I went to him, I was talking to him about a whole load of different issues. And I was certainly very sceptical about a lot of what he said. And the reason I was is because I had checked his criminal record before I went, and I knew, you know, what his form was. And some of the stuff he was saying to me, I knew to be untrue anyway.
But
So-
were you kind of sucked in by him?
No, but I did make a point to somebody earlier this week that I could see why he was very good at what he did in terms of, you know, the things that got him into trouble before with the law, because he's got a personality which sometimes people are repulsed when I say this, but he actually has quite a likable personality. I could see how he could get somebody on side. And when I came away from that interview, he certainly hadn't sucked me in, because I knew a lot of other stuff, and stuff
Quite.
he was telling me wasn't
Quite,
true.
yes.
But he has a very endearing and charming, dare
Do you
I
mean
say.
vis-a-vis women or vis-a-vis men as well?
No, kind of a likable rogue is the way you
Likeable
describe
rogue
him.
kind
Yeah,
of, yes.
you know, a bit of a chancer, but
Yes,
good
but-
personality.
Yes. I see, I see. Now, you talked to Gareth on Monday about your CJD thing, and I don't want to go into that again because we're just running out of time. I want you to pull a card for me anyway before you go. The health crisis recently, Liz went for an